in my experience, I would say just generally, and it's a very big generalization, probably more often in the, I don't want to say the shadow, but I feel like there's probably more people out there in this hesitancy of sharing. Like, I think it takes I would think it would take a very brave individual, especially in this day and age, to like feel like you can share what it is that's really like on your
Mhm.
heart kind of thing.
It's a very vulnerable position.
Human design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, human design specialist.
And I'm Haley, the human design newbie. Listen in as we explore how leaning into your authentic self is your ultimate path to success. Welcome to the Human Design Hive Podcast. Let's get into it.
Well, hello there, Haley. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. It's good to see you. And welcome back to the Human Design Hive podcast.
Woohoo.
We need to get in the habit of introducing ourselves. I know we do it in the intro, but I'm Dana. I'm your host, and Haley, my lovely daughter, which
Haley.
I will tell you today, when we were texting earlier and your texts were coming through, it told me that it asked me if I wanted to update your contact card with your new name. And I was like, I guess so. She's officially a grooms. Even Apple knows.
Well, I went in and
Congratulations.
changed that thing. Like I changed part of my contact card like a while ago, but then I don't know. It's like you have, I don't know, it was another place I had to go change my name. I'm like, why wouldn't you just, I don't know, it was some quirk. I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Well, yes, it was. So today we are going to talk about the gates for June coming up, but really want to talk about something I think that's pretty incredible that you did this past weekend, right? Mother's Day
Yeah.
weekend it
hmm
was.
hmm
You ran your first official competitive race, I guess you would call it.
Well, no, so it's the longest one I've ever run. It was 4 miles. I did when I was in college. They had like every year they would do a nightly 5K. Like so that
Nightly?
was yeah, well, not not nightly. It was a night 5K.
Okay. I was like, wow, I never heard that before.
No, sorry. It was it was a 5K a night. So I did that 2 years, but I didn't do any training for those ones. And
What's
those were
So 4 miles, what's a 5K?
a
How many?
5K is
Two,
3.1 miles.
3.1 miles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been
So
training for this race, I
yes.
guess.
Yes.
What was it called?
It was the hold on.
Oh,
Valkyrie Trail Race.
oh, nice.
My medal here is very cool.
I know.
So
I've been waiting to ask you details. You sent me a picture that you ran in. I was just so proud of
yes.
you because who knew we had a runner in the family?
I know.
Which,
Not me.
which, real quick, we've got to tell the story. We joke about you
Yes.
being a runner in the family because when you, when you were in high school, you played volleyball.
hmm
And what, sophomore, junior, and senior year?
Just junior and
Just
senior.
junior and
hmm
senior year. And you played middle,
Yes. hmm
and you were a great team player.
Yes. Yep. Fun
You
time.
were maybe not the best player, but you were a great team player. You gave it so much heart, always did. You were the heart of that team. And so, should I tell the story?
I don't care.
I want to tell the story because I love
Okay.
this story.
Okay.
So, you had a coach,
Church.
Couch? Church.
Church.
I don't know why. Because you said in your text earlier it was misspelled. Coach was misspelled with couch. Anyway, okay.
I get those confused all the time.
Okay. So your coach was Mr. Church.
Coach
I
Church.
don't know. Coach
Yes.
Church. Mr.
Mhm.
Church. And he was kind of hard to read, this guy.
hmm
He was tough. He was a
Real good
good
poker
coach.
face.
Amazing poker. Like I never knew what he was thinking. Very low key. Like I never saw his demeanor like really change much. Like even
Yeah.
during games,
He was
like
very like stable.
you're on the sidelines, like, and he's just like calm. calm all the time. So if you have children in high school or have graduated from high school, you know that if they were in team sports, a lot of times they do like a senior recognition when the seniors are
Hmm.
graduating, which is what we're going to talk about here real quick. So, like I said, my Haley tried out did you try
I
out
think I
sophomore
tried
year?
out sophomore year. Yeah.
And did not make the team.
Nope. Nope.
And I have to say, it was crushing for you and me. It was the first time I ever saw you go for something that you did not achieve.
It was it was devastating.
It was devastating, yeah. But you didn't give up. You
Nope.
played club ball,
Hmm.
and then you came back the next year and you made the
I
team.
played club ball on the wrong team.
The wrong age group. That's
Yeah.
why, yeah,
It was-
yeah.
yeah.
It's another story. They put her on a. How old were
Was
you?
I
15?
was yeah, but I was like I got not drafted, but like placed into like truly just a training team. And
Mm-hmm.
then the first day I showed up for practice, it was actually a travel team, but I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that till the first tournament. So I couldn't play with them, but I still finished out the travel season and practice with them.
Which is the universe working its way because honestly, if you start with the starter team, you probably wouldn't have made the high school team junior year.
Hmm.
But anyway, so okay. So anyways, senior night, they're doing the awards, senior awards, and he starts giving this speech about Haley, which just I loved his speech. It was so sweet, but he started off by saying that you were someone that was basically what we just said. You've been a great player on the team and everything, but
Hmm.
he said that he remembers when he first saw you, or roughly when they were doing the conditioning in the summertime, which is what they do, tryouts, conditioning, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And you were there, right? To,
Hmm.
because your best friend played on the team already, right?
Yeah.
Ashley. And I think where did he see you? Was you in the gym?
I was in the gym. I was like in the gym getting like putting on my shoes and stuff, like getting ready.
And he told you, he walked over to you and told you that the track tryouts were
We're outside.
outside. Because I guess he'd seen you doing some warm up or something. I
I
don't know. And you were like, "No, I'm here for volleyball." He's like, "Oh, okay." So he told the story of how he tried. One of his favorite players on the senior, one of the favorite seniors turned out to be on the team that was such an asset to the team, which you had in that game helped turn that game around. I believe that day it
Hmm.
was like you guys were losing, and your energy alone helped like change the environment of the team that day, and they ended up winning. But he said how you were such an asset to the team. He almost tried to drive you away by getting you to try out for track because you did not appear to be a volleyball player.
Yeah, so,
But God bless
so
him. He
yeah.
gave you a shot and you did good. So that's a
Mhm.
long. I God, why were we even talking about? Oh, not a runner, even though you look
Not a
like one.
runner.
But you are a runner now.
Yes. Yes.
How was it?
It was honestly, it went by so quickly. Like I finished, I thought it was going to take me like an hour was the time I was shooting for because I run about a 15-minute mile. I am by no means fast, but I had fun. But I finished it like just over 56 minutes. So I like was getting towards the end of the race and I looked at my watch and I could see the finish line and I was like, okay, I'm at like 54 minutes or whatever. And so the last like maybe half mile or so, I really turned on the gas and really ran for it. But honestly, like I don't remember much of the actual race. Like I was just kind of in a zone and I did text you this and I was like, I think I was meditating the whole time.
That's awesome. But that is like, it's so perfect because with your such active mind, head and ajna, it's what I say to people a lot of time with those definitions is that, it may be something that you have to physically do
Hmm.
to give your brain something to focus on, which would be moving your legs and breathing and
Yeah.
stuff. And you're outside to allow your mind to just, because you said you were listening to music, but you don't
I
remember.
had one AirPod in and I just had some like music and it's a playlist that I listen to often when I'm running. So like it's songs I know, but like honestly, I don't remember a single one that played. Like it was almost like it wasn't playing.
So, do you know where you placed?
I placed 42nd out of
Hmm.
56, I think, for the 4 mile.
Good for
There
you.
was a 4 mile and an 8 mile
So is this a
half
this
marathon
is a
and
trail
marathon.
run, right? So you
Yes.
were like,
Hmm.
where was it?
It was in Cheyenne Mountain State Park.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was
So,
also
well, I was just
it
gonna say for everybody out, she did this run 4 miles in Colorado.
yes.
So I would just like to point out that it's a high altitude and there's elevation changes,
I
and
think
so
there
that's
was
something to
like
be really proud of.
400 feet of total elevation gain. I
I live 12 feet above sea level.
live at like 6,000 now. But
Wow.
it was kind of like the day was kind of like overcast. The morning was overcast. And it did kind of like start sprinkling a couple times while I was running. And I just kind of like
Hmm.
had to smile and look up because I was like, this is awesome. I love the rain.
Well, that's great. You're like, you don't mind running in the rain, so it wasn't too
No.
cold, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I am super proud of you, and
Thank
I
you.
think everybody else out there listening would be proud too, because
Thanks.
it's an accomplishment, something to be proud of. Are you hooked now? You want to run another one?
Yeah, kind of.
Might as well. I mean,
Yeah.
get you out there in the
Mhm.
world. It'd be good.
And Presley's like,
Well,
"Oh, now you're ready for a 10K." And literally my first reaction was, "Oh, it's only 2 more miles." Like,
ooh,
not like, "Oh, it's so much." I was like, "Oh, it's just 2 more miles."
sounds like a runner to me.
And then I looked at him, I was like, "Is this how it starts?"
Hmm. Yep. You guys are gonna be planning vacations around marathons.
We're about to do that in the fall, and Presley signed up for a 50K.
I can't. Okay. So
Yeah, that distance, I'm like, 'cause that's like 30 something miles.
in a day?
Yeah. And actually, it's a night race.
Okay, we're
It's a
getting off
nightly
topic.
race.
We're starting to have a private conversation here, so we should probably rein it back in to the topic at hand for today,
Yes.
which is another transit report
Mhm.
for the month of June 2024. And Haley, you want to tell everybody how we do this?
Well, how we do it? Uh,
Well, what the transits are, why we do it. You've done this before, a little
yeah,
synopsis of
yeah,
our transit episodes.
yeah. So we go month by month, and the sun moves into a new gate roughly every 6 days, and that's what we focus on in these
Hmm.
transit episodes. Is just kind of looking a little bit in depth of each gate that we're going to be kind of moving through in the month, just so we're kind of
Hmm.
all aware of it, see how we feel during it, and just
Hmm.
kind of so we can be more aware.
Yeah, and I think it's everybody's curious about the gates and the energies, and I know it's really helped me get an even deeper, better understanding of the gates by following them along in the order because there's
Mhm.
64 gates. And yes, you could look at them if you wanted to learn about them 1 through 64, but when you look at it in the context of where it falls in the year and
Mhm.
what gates are around it at the same time, you start to see the thematics. And so you kind of, it's been really interesting to me because now, especially as we're almost halfway through the year now. I know. I can now like kind of get an idea when I hear someone's birthday. I know what their sun gate is. You know what I mean? It's like, especially if it's been in the last month or so, because it's still fresh in my mind.
Mhm.
But so you start to see the people around you. You kind of, obviously it's the same thing for their sun sign or whatever. It's all related.
Mhm.
But just I think when I think about people I know and what their sun gate energy is, it's so much easier. It gives you a better understanding of how it can play out in different people because especially the time between January and May is a very active time in my life for just about everybody I know was born the first half of the year.
Yeah.
Those very close to me are born the first part of the year. Like only my one of my best friends my whole life, Tanya, is born in October, a month before me. But everybody else is like
Everyone else is.
January, February, March, not really much April, and then May. So I know it's weird. Anybody that knows astrology would probably listening to me like, that's not weird. Those signs are all compatible. I have no idea. I do not know. But what was I going to say? It was something about the gates there. But anyways, maybe it'll come back to me. Maybe not. So we wrapped up May. Oh, it's really relevant to May, and I can't think of something's like tickling my brain right now that
Well, we
wants
were
to
talking about
be
birthdays, better
reminded.
understanding. You can see
I
people's
know.
sun sign.
I don't know. Okay, so we ended May. Now, first of all, if you go back and if you were wanting to know more about each gate, that's another thing I'd like to say is that unlike a lot of other transit reports that are out there in this human design space, they're usually doing like a full spectrum transit report in the like where all the planets are. So it is more like an astrology report.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, as the title suggests, the episode, we just look at the sun gates and that's it because we're really just focusing, as you said, on what the planetary theme is as far as that sun energy because it is such a huge influence on the chart
Mm-hmm.
and we just want to learn about the gates at the same time, so we're not really
Yeah.
doing so much like a astrological forecast or celestial weather kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it is still valuable to go back and listen to those other episodes even though it's in the past. We are discussing the themes of the gates.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended May in gate 16, which is the other thing is all the gates that we went through. Just about, I think, was it all the gates? All no, all but one of the gates in May were all throat gates, right?
Yeah.
And we also started the quarter of civilization at the beginning of May with the first gate of May,
Okay.
which was
I was
2.
gonna ask that. I couldn't remember.
So we're in the quarter of civilization now, which the themes are around people that are born during this time of year, during this quarter. They're going to be fulfilled through their purposes, fulfilled through building things like in the
Mm-hmm.
material world, which makes sense that it started at the beginning of May during Taurus season, because Taurus is all about the material world and things like that. So,
Okay.
and these throat gates, same thing, there's the theme there of manifestation of
Mm-hmm.
bringing things out into the
Yeah.
world through the
You
throat
gotta
chakra.
bring them out before you can build them.
So we ended on gate 16, gate of enthusiasm. And this month we are starting on, I'm looking everywhere at my notes and I have them all right in front of me. I'm looking over here, but I have it all right in front of me. So June 1st, roughly,
Oh,
we're going to start with gate 35, which is the gate of progress. Again, this is in the throat. Gate
okay.
35 is in the throat. It's the gate of progress in the I Ching. Traditional human design is the gate of change. In quantum human design, it is the gate of experience.
Okay.
And it connects with gate 36 in the solar plexus in the channel of transitoriness. I love that
Ooh.
word. Every time I say it, it's like it just kind of wants to. I mean, it's what did they call it? A word that's how it sounds is kind of like a meaning of the word. You know what I mean?
Is that a onomatopoeia?
Onomatopoeia, which
Like
that might
bam?
be. Yeah,
Like
because I
bam is
feel
bam.
like transitoriness
It
kind
does
of
feel very
wanders.
like,
It's kind of meandering.
yeah, it's kind of swaying. Got a little shoulder movement to it.
That's right. And so the main themes in this gate are really about individuals who are wanting to experience life. They grow through life through different experiences and the importance of like reflection and sharing what they learned. So
Mm.
if you think about where it's at, it's a collective circuitry gate.
Mm-hmm.
It's in
Okay.
the abstract circuitry. So that is sensing,
Mm.
which is all about experience. And as I said, it reaches down to gate 36 in the solar plexus. And then if you were to follow that circuitry through gate 30 to gate 41 in the root. And so we've already covered some of those gates. And we know that this there is this theme in that whole circuitry, at least on that side of the chart, of experience. It's
Mm-hmm.
like what kind of having the vision for it, like what do you want to engage in, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then fueling that passion, having the experience, and then gate 35 in the throat is what expresses
Just the
what.
sharing of it.
Yeah. So because it is all about experience, there is kind of this restless nature in this gate because they are driven by a need to have new experiences in order
Mm-hmm.
to grow. So they always feel like something new has to be happening.
Yeah.
And it says that since it is a throat channel, its voice being usually it starts with something like I feel because it is
Mm-hmm.
talking about what it's feeling because it's attached to the emotional center, right?
Mm-hmm.
So unlike the other side of the chart, which would be going through the spleen,
Mm-hmm.
that those experiences or that repetition of things is about mastery. It's learning through repeating things and mastering things. This side is like, no, it's not about having experiences to achieve mastery. They just want to have lots of different experiences
It's
in
like
order
having
to,
experience for the experience.
yeah, to gain the wisdom. And so there is an importance here with people at this gate on reflecting, looking back, and learning from things. Now there can also be some impulsiveness in this gate, in this channel in
Mm-hmm.
particularly because of that need for new. Like they could get bored rather easily because they feel like this impetus to grow is fueled by new,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, like, shadow sides of this could be people that just create in that whole channel in particular, but a lot of times creating some emotional instability, drama, that kind of thing, because as the name suggests, for the channel of transitoriness, which is like you're always moving on, you're in transition. you're
Yeah.
It's funny because I associate that word a lot with here where I live because there is people that just move in and out of this area all the time because they think it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be so great to live at the beach where they went to vacation and then they live here and they're like, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
just like living anywhere else."
I
I still got shit to deal with.
can't be on permanent vacation.
Yeah. So their experiences and what they learn and what they're here to share, like I said, their experiences are going to have an impact on the collective. Since it is collective energy, it
Mm-hmm.
is meant to whatever their wisdom gain, whatever it is they learn, they are here to like make meaning from that and share it with the collective and help expand possibilities for other people. So they'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
I've done this, I've done that, this is what I've learned. And there is, I think all these two main channels that come from the solar plexus to the throat, there is a lot of well, it's emotional energy, but it's emotionally charged, I guess you would say, because it is very much one is individual, one's collective. It is meant to like go through the emotionality of things. So, as this gate is being highlighted at the beginning of June, I think it's interesting that it comes at this time. It is about, we're in this quarter of civilization
Mm-hmm.
building. Like, how does that relate? We came off from gate 16 to this gate. So, that gate of enthusiasm to the other side of the chart, like, they're literally opposite each other on the throat center.
Mm. Okay.
And so it's like we said before, it is experience, repeating experience for mastery on one side. On the other side, it's just repeating experience for the sake of gaining wisdom through what was learned and what was gained.
Mm-hmm.
So, some things to think about during this time is if you have this gate or if you don't have this gate, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you have this gate, this probably resonates with you more, but it's a good time during this time to experience the energies of these gates and reflect on your own life, the themes in these gates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like for you, you could be reflecting on what you just experienced. Even though it was a solo experience with yourself, it was still quite a journey, what you
Mm-hmm.
went through, learning about yourself
Mm-hmm.
and what you would then share with others through your experience. Like you said, the wisdom gained there what would you say was some of the wisdom gained through your own experience, putting you on the spot?
I mean, really, that I can do a lot more than my brain wants to tell me I can.
Yeah, that would be something you could share at this time with others. Or if you are someone out there who is, say, in business, or you have customers or clients, or you're trying to talk to people in any way, you could come from this perspective of what it is you've learned along the way through your experiences, how
Hmm.
it helped you grow and learn. And so also to recognize within yourself, do you see the importance of your experience and what you learned and what you can share? Because quite often we just keep stuff to ourselves. We're like, does anybody really care? But
Yeah.
that's really how we all learn in a large way, and how we affect
Hmm.
is through story, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was, I mean, if you think about like just the evolution of human civilization in general, like we we told our history but through stories. Like before there was written language, it was all just stories, and that's how people like experience things.
Yeah, or experience. I mean, that's how we parent our children. It's how we teach, is through experience. Good teachers teach through experience. So also just think about, as you look at your life, are you even pursuing new experiences? If this, especially if this isn't highlighted in your chart and you don't always feel that drive to be doing something, to look at what interests you. Is there something that you maybe could pursue in order to kind of get that energy going? What is it, something that you would like to learn or experience or do? This would be a
Hmm.
good time to contemplate for yourself. Are there things that you're passionate about and that you're willing to dig into? Because you never know what drives you to explore something could benefit others by your results or your experience, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so moving on.
Okay.
Moving on to a gate you have. So you always get
Ooh.
very excited at this point.
Hence the ooh.
Ooh, me. So on the 7th of June, we move into gate 45, which
Ooh.
is in the throat again,
No.
and it reaches to the will center. So this is gates known as gathering together in the I Ching, and it's also known as the king or queen energy in traditional human design. And in quantum human design, it's known as the gate of distribution. So,
Okay.
as you can see, there's going to be some themes here around leadership.
Hmm.
And this is your unconscious earth
Oh,
placement for you.
okay.
So, it does complete a channel with gate 21 in the will center, which is the hunter huntress energy.
Hmm.
And so it's this dynamic between those two of having, like, who owns the resources, who controls the resources, who distributes the resources, right?
Hmm.
Because the will center is about resources, material things, and that and whatnot. So in this gate, as we said, it is the voice of the tribe, because it is the only gate that goes from the will center, which is tribal material, all that stuff,
Hmm.
to the throat. And like I said, the main themes here have a lot to do with leadership and authority. It's the role of the leader within the tribe. Obviously, the
Hmm.
name is king or queen.
Yeah.
And protecting the community resources. And we've talked about this gate quite a lot before, I think, because
Hmm.
it's yours. And there is a lot of kind of speaking as kind of this about resources. The voice is a lot of I have in this voice, because it's highlighting like ownership and control over material resources. And so
Hmm.
I think it's kind of easy to understand if you think about the king or queen in the instance of a benevolent king or queen, the role they play within a community, right?
Hmm.
Which would be the leader, the person who has the interest of their subjects, the best interest of their subjects at hand. Because we did quite a bit of the talking about this when we did the episode, with a couple episodes back, with the designs of Trump. I can only think I didn't want to single out Trump, but we did talk about Trump, and he has this
Yeah.
gate,
I
and
forget what
his
that
chart
episode was.
is fully in shadow.
Yes. Yeah, he was like prime example of all of his gates in shadow.
Only in shadow. But yeah, so there's a lot of this is part of the, I should say, I didn't say the channel there, the 4521 is called the money channel, channel of money.
Mm-hmm.
And because it is very much like who has the money, who controls the money. And so in the old system, it would have been the king or the queen owned the land, they had the money, they had the resources,
Mm-hmm.
but they weren't involved in the day-to-day running of their land. They
Mm-hmm.
would appoint a steward or somebody of the land to handle that kind of thing, to actually
Mm-hmm.
manage it. And so there is, people are going to look to you as a leader if you have this gate. It's just a natural energy that you hold. And it's best, they say, that if you do have this gate, this energy actually functions better if you don't yourself have the full channel, but if somebody else has the 21 to complement your 45,
Mm-hmm.
because it is this kind of give and take balance relationship of power, and then being able to also know what really needs. So you're like, kind of like your ego gets taken out of it and somebody else can handle the actual, you can go about the leadership stuff and they can handle the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
So with this being your unconscious earth gate,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel any of that energy? Or should I say, do you recognize that leadership gets called out in you, even though you don't necessarily feel it?
Yeah, leadership definitely gets called out of me. Like if I think about many experiences in
And
my
it's a
life, I
line, and
wasn't,
it's your line two as well.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 45 line two.
So, I mean, a lot of things, a lot of instances where I have been a leader of a group or a objective or something like that, I didn't go out and try to be the leader of it. It
Mm-hmm.
was more no one else would step up, or they were kind of, if there was someone in the leadership already, they were kind of falling behind. And then
Mm-hmm.
next thing you know, I am the one that's just kind of leading it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know from like the other, like I also can resonate with the energy of like trying to like feeling like that everyone needs to be taken care of. Like
Mm,
I do resonate with that part of the energy a lot as well.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's the leadership there, like what you said, the optimal leadership energy there is obviously being recognized. It's a throat gate. People
Hmm.
recognize it in you for one, which is all about communal growth kind of thing. So you were recognized as far as the community. And then of course it was unbalanced. It would be more people coming from a place of ego and insecurity and trying to control, is like we discussed, somebody else that lives in the shadow all the time.
Mm.
So basically, people that have this gate, these themes revolving around leadership, would be ideally people manage their leadership roles with for the betterment of the collective and for the whole.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, the community, for the tribe.
Hmm.
So at this time, it'd be a good time to kind of, if you are involved in any groups, let's say, a good time to check in and make sure that there is still this shared vision or direction or goal for the group, especially if, like I said, if you're in charge of it, or even it's your household or your community, just kind of like making sure that your priorities are still in line with the priorities of your community and everybody is effectively being taken care of. And then on a personal level, exploring the themes of, especially if you don't have this gate highlighted,
Hmm.
but talking about themes of like sharing resources and leadership and everything, asking how do I contribute, or how can I contribute to my community or my tribe or even the world? Have I been put in places of leadership, roles of leadership before? And did I embrace that? How do I embrace it? Am I comfortable being in a leadership position? Because, like I said, even if you don't have these gates defined, we're all experiencing these energies, and we also get the flavor at this time of what that feels like for you. Are you
Hmm.
comfortable in a leadership role? Do you avoid taking on leadership roles? When you are there, do you sometimes push too hard in your own agenda, or do you allow the people that you're leading to inform how you lead? Because that's really important. That's the most
Hmm.
effective leaders, are those who,
Yeah.
listen.
Yes.
So that's interesting. Like I said, at this time of the year when we're talking about building and the energy of building things, really evaluating your role as a leader and what that means to you and how you lead. So,
Yeah.
any other thoughts on that?
No.
Okay. So, moving on, June 13th, we move into the gate 12, another throat gate. It's just right above gate 45, or
Jeez, I
yeah, gate
forget how many
45.
throat gates there are.
There's so many throat gates.
Did we
And
count them? Or does the throat have the most gates?
we have counted them. It is 6, 9, 11. Yeah, 11 gates in the throat. And ironically, we're not hitting all of them, but we're hitting a lot of them. Okay, so gate 12. If you're watching me in video, I'm looking off the side because I'm just looking at the body graph. Always like to have a visual. Gate 12 is the gate
Mhm.
of caution.
Okay.
It's also in traditional called gate of caution.
Yeah.
And in quantum human design, she calls it the channel, as in
Okay.
channeling.
Hmm.
And it creates a channel with gate 22 in the solar plexus, which is called openness. And this is an individual circuitry gate, or a gate, yes, the channel's individual. Again, it's tied to emotional energy. And so, since it's individual, what we do know is that this is going to carry a lot of moodiness in this gate, in the sense that being a throat gate, it is encouraged to speak or do when only in the mood,
Hmm.
because it's going to be better received if you have the chance to really gauge the right timing for when it is you want to express what it is you've been feeling, or what
Hmm.
you in that way, or creating in that way. It is a very unique and rather transformative voice because it's a creative voice. It's coming
Hmm.
from that creative solar plexus. So there is a lot of people that, singers, speakers, that kind of thing. This is the energy there because they have a way of, they can give voice to the emotions, which is quite a gift, to be able to articulate what it is you are
Hmm.
feeling.
Yeah.
Quite a gift. And so it does, since it is like attached to the emotional center, that is also the timing there is, you've got to be patient. It's got
Hmm.
to run its own course. If you have the full channel, especially you're emotionally defined through this channel, it's definitely waiting till the right time mood.
Hmm.
So what's interesting is that when this voice speaks, it has tremendous impact on those around them. And I think that's why she calls it the channel, because it can literally, it is bringing through transformative voice. Because if you
Hmm.
think individual circuitries, mutative circuitry
Yep.
is that experience. Yeah. So it is like, has the power through what it says to change really the way people feel. And
Hmm.
we've talked about this gate, this channel too, as well, because I do know a couple people with it. And they're not always talking or expressing or whatever, but then when they do, when they really connect or collect their thoughts, their feelings, and have had time to go through the experience, another connection there, which is really going through the emotional wave and
Hmm.
understanding and processing their feelings, what they come out with is like incredible. You think
Whoa.
songwriters, poetry, all
Hmm.
these things come out of this channel.
Yeah.
So there is within this gate, and people will have this gate, it's the gate of shyness, because there is this
Mm.
tendency to be naturally kind of cautious. Because one, if you're in the mood or not, whether or not you feel like it, and you may have been provoked into sharing or speaking before you're ready.
Hmm.
And as you can imagine, it might not be very well understood
Yeah.
or received, which happens to all these throat gates if they're not
Mm.
to the right time.
Yeah.
But so they can be a little hesitant to share if they've, well, especially if they haven't had an understanding of how the energy it works and the
Hmm.
experiences to like, I imagine this voice having, because I don't have it, you don't have it, is more often than not probably in my experience, I would say just generally, and it's a very big generalization, probably more often in the, I don't want to say the shadow, but I feel like there's probably more people out there in this hesitancy of sharing. Like, I think it takes I would think it would take a very brave individual, especially in this day and age, to like feel like you can share what it is that's really like on your
Mhm.
heart kind of thing.
It's a very vulnerable position.
I would think so because it's not coming like from the G center, which is even more vulnerable, but it is like trying to put words to emotions like feeling is very difficult.
I can't do it.
I
I'm
can
like
barely put words to anything
I
half the time.
I feel I don't know. Just
Yeah, yeah. But if you do have this gate, just know that your words are needed. We'll be patient. We will wait for you to say what it is you have to say because there really is the potential there for them to profoundly affect us with whatever
Mhm.
it is that they eventually come out with. And like I said, it doesn't always have to be speaking because it is the throat gate. It can be creativity, things they create and everything.
Mhm.
So, like I said, there's some shyness there. Could make you a little self-critical, like you're afraid to share what it is you have to share. So maybe if you have this gate defined, reflecting on that, have you been a little too hard on yourself by judging really what it is that you want to say? And how has that affected how you feel in interactions with others if you feel that you can show yourself more? Like I said, making you a little shy.
Mhm.
And there's creative energy in there. So if you also have that gate, what is your creative expression? What do you like to do? How do you like to express? And it doesn't, like I said, this is the hardest thing I think about creative expression. We always think it has to be art, but it really is, as a human being, you're a creative individual. You create
Mhm.
by the way you dress, you
Yeah. I
express
mean,
yourself.
literally it's create. Anything you create, anything you do is creating.
Yeah. Like I used to struggle with that too, but I'm like, the way you decorate your house or the way that you like to have things, your aesthetics.
Mhm.
My one of my biggest creative outlets I think is cooking. It's because I love to cook and
Mhm.
I can be creative with it because I'm not a baker. I cook. I don't bake. I don't think you can. I digress. But anyway, so yeah, lots of themes during those couple days about creativity and expression and timing. So there may be some feeling the need if you don't have this gate, might be more of a need to feel like you need to express your feelings and to just maybe not rush into it, feel it. There just might be a little more emotionality in the room
Mhm.
during that time and to just be aware of it. And I
Just a
hope I
little
don't lose my
patience all
internet.
around.
Yeah. All right. So excuse me, June 19th, we move into gate 15, which is a G center gate.
Oh, we're out of the throat.
Yes. This is known as, in the I Ching, as modesty, which is interesting. I don't quite get that. In
Okay.
traditional, it's known as extremes.
Oh,
And in traditional, in quantum human design, it's known as compassion.
okay.
So,
Well, we are just all over the place.
three very different takes on something. Yes, it's in the G center. It connects to the sacral with gate 5. It's known as the channel of rhythm. And so the way I usually, where you look at it, most people look at it, is gate 5 is consistency, and gate 15 is more of a variable kind of rhythm. Together they create a rhythm. So it's like gate 5 is the natural, more fixed rhythms, like the
Mhm.
turning of the seasons, just the way things grow. It's timing, it's
It's a little
patience.
more rigid.
Yeah, it's like fixed patterns, routines. I have gate 5. I can attest to it. Doing things at your pace, the way you want to do it. There's less flexibility because that feels like a good pace for you. Whereas in gate 15, there's more variability there. And it has the tolerance for there being lots of different ways and times to do things. So that's where this
Mhm.
compassion comes from because in the G center, This is the gate or the center for love and identity
Mm-hmm.
direction. This is the love of humanity. And so that's where the compassion passion comes in, because it's understanding that there is diversity in the world, that we're all different and we all have different ways of, or different timing, different ways of doing
Mm-hmm.
things, and accepting that and being okay with that, embracing other people's rhythms and patterns without
Mm-hmm.
judgment. And so there's also this theme of transpersonal love, or extending like humanity, love beyond your personal connections, and a more universal love. Because, we can, in our smaller groups and with our family, whatever, especially if you have the gate five and consistency,
Mm-hmm.
you probably run you probably run the rhythm in your house. I'm just gonna say. People, I think, in my house
I don't know about
understand.
that one. I know what spot I can sit on the couch in the morning and what spot I can sit on at night.
That makes me sound like a crazy person.
You have very valid reasons for it. I think it's the same
Yeah,
spot now.
I think it is. Yeah, I don't sit on the couch in the morning anymore.
Yeah.
So there, but it's my coffee. We gotta have the
Hmm.
coffee time. Gotta do it and I do have the tendency to do things in the same rhythm, and that
Hmm.
affects those around me because nobody in the family has the other gate. Nope, I looked. Your dad doesn't have it either. So during this time, there's there's going to be, I guess, themes around, like I said, diversity and accepting how other people do things, but also honoring the way you do things. You could
Hmm.
maybe look at your own pace and the way you do things. Do you stick to your own routine? Are you influenced by those around you? And there's also, like, how do I say this? There's a lot of themes there in that channel around habits. Do you have good habits? Are they healthy habits? Are you too rigid? Could you be more flexible? So there is going to be a lot of themes during this time about your own personal rhythm, but also around those around you, and just kind of being respectful of the fact that everybody has a way of doing things differently. But it is also, like I said, it's the compassion is the main, I
Hmm.
think, theme there of having that. And so, of having that. So it's interesting that this is summertime in the US as far as how we do things. We have summers off from school,
Hmm.
right? And so we move out of this very
Jeez, it's
routine.
like throw out the routine.
I know everybody, if you have kids and or college students, whatever, there is a move from very fixed things that you have to attend to being open to doing things a little differently for summer.
Hmm.
Everybody's routine changes. And so you kind of, I like, like you said about me being so rigid in the way I like to do things. It's not June yet, but I did have my college student move back. It does change things in the house. It
Hmm.
is an adjustment period. And along that theme, maybe it'll be highlighted a little bit more in June. I do get very stuck in the way I like things to happen at certain times of the day. I don't like certain noises. I don't like distractions. And having other people in the house changes that. And so I have learned to accept that. But there's also when people change their, routines. They go on vacation. It's like, have fun. Try something
Yeah.
different.
When
Shake it
you
up.
when you first started describing the like kind of the rhythm of this gate compared to gate 5, I don't know, I like immediately saw like waves crashing on the beach. Like they're all the same, but they're different at the same time, and they have a little bit different of a flow to them sometimes, and some might be bigger than others and smaller. I don't know.
Oh, wow. That's very good. And overall, they are, there is an overall rhythm to the ocean, to the
Hmm.
tides coming and going. But you're right,
To the
there is
It's
this.
all one body of water connected all around.
Don't start,
There it
Haley.
is.
Don't start. Don't start with me.
I won't take that
We got to
space.
get this people to the conclusion of June. We can't go off on water. Yeah, no, that's a really great. I really love that's. Oh, it's one of those little gems you drop in there now and then because it is so true. It's like there are all those seemingly varied rhythms and different types of waves and heights and size. That's so good, but it is all part of that one bigger body of water that has its own rhythm together with it. It's really good. I like that. Thank you. See what you come up with the next one.
Oh gosh.
So, rounding out the month of June, we have on the 25th of June, we move into gate 52,
Ooh.
which is, I like this one, keeping still. It's known as the mountain in I Ching. They call it the mountain. It's the gate of stillness. And in traditional, it's called stillness. And then in quantum human design, she calls it perspective.
Oh, okay.
And this gate is in the root center.
Oh,
It connects to gate 9 in the sacral center through the channel of concentration. And you should be kind of familiar with this because your brother has this gate. I mean, this channel, the whole channel. And he is my poster child of understanding the
of
energy that works here.
stillness, of
I kind of see him as a
concentration.
mountain. He's kind of like a mountain. He's very immovable.
It's very steadfast.
He can be very still for very long periods of time.
Yes. Very focused.
Yeah, and that's what this gate is about focus, and it's an overview focus kind of thing. So it's kind of complicated in the sense that since it's in the root, it is tied to timing, not the same
Hmm.
way that timing in the throat center. Throat center needs recognition and feeling out the right time, being recognized, asked. This timing is that pulse from the root center that is nobody knows where that
Hmm.
timing comes from or when it's going to come, but it's being prepared for the right time. It is pouring outside right now. There's like a mini tropical storm suddenly happening outside my window. So hopefully we can get through this episode without losing power. So there's a lot of tension and kind of balance in this between gate 52 and gate 9
Hmm.
because the analogy that I always heard, which really helped me with the energy of understanding how this works, is if you imagine it is the eagle, the predatory bird that circles overhead,
Hmm.
and it is just waiting. It's waiting for the right time to strike, but it has to be observant. It has to be focused, and then if that energy is there, if they have the gate 9, they know exactly where to go. It
Hmm.
like gives them the direction here, right?
Hmm.
So this gate then has this kind of restlessness in a way. Sorry, your dad just texted me, distracted me. It has this restlessness and also a little bit of, I think we did the format gates. We did some of this. This is one of those gates where depression can tend to hang out a little bit because there can be this sense of like, I don't know where to focus. I don't
I
know where this is going. And you can have this sense of wanting
feel
something
like
to
that's
get
like
into
the
action.
root. It's like welcome to the root.
I don't know. I don't have it defined. I
It
have no
is.
gates. I have no gates. I'm
Yeah.
free. And so it has this bigger energy of bigger perspective and being able to focus effectively, but then also it doesn't, especially if it doesn't have gate 9, it doesn't know where to focus. And that's
Hmm.
where some of this depressive energy could occur is without that connection of knowing where. And so they always feel like can't get started at things that they just
Always up in the clouds.
is a lot of in that. And so, but once it knows where it's can focus, it has that ability to then just, I mean, just especially if the whole channel just laser focus. And so there's themes around the management of energy, focus, and this struggle between finding a balance between pressure and like concentration of like understanding, let's see, not understanding, that's not the right word, because we've talked about the root has this pulse energy. So you
Hmm.
just kind of need to be prepared for when it's going to be active. So if you don't have this gate defined, which I do not, it may be a good time, or not a good time, but there's going to be the energy in the air of having more focus, let's say,
Mhm.
of being able to concentrate. If I were going to do a full transit report, I'd probably see if there was a connection to gate 9, but I don't know if there is at that time. But
I believe I have 9.
do you?
I think so.
Oh, you do. Yeah, I'm looking right at your chart. You do.
Oh my
So
God,
that
I'll
would
have
mean
connection to the sacral.
that's right. Yeah. So, got any projects you want to knock out in a couple
Oh,
days? Things that you
I don't
feel like you
know.
need to concentrate on, need a little focus? Gonna do any fine needlework or anything?
I don't know.
But that's what we talk about your brother, because I mean, he's a software developer. He works at home. He's on the computer a lot. But one of his passion projects that he likes to do is building these models, these very
Mhm.
intricate, very detailed, teeny tiny
Oh,
steel,
so deep.
small pieces of robots. I guess. Well, we
They're
call them
Gundam.
robots.
Yes, they're
Yeah, they're Gundam.
Gundam robots, but they're like
Yes,
the hundreds and hundreds of pieces for these robot that's like half a foot tall.
and the decals and the stickers and the
Yeah,
painting and they
painting
move,
and
the parts move, and
they're really fascinating.
oh, and they make me crazy just looking at them. When he gets a new one and he takes out a box and it's just
Mhm.
sheets of all those pieces together,
Yeah.
he's so excited because he knows, like, he likes doing it, and I could never in a million years think about doing something like that. One, I
I
don't have
sat
the eyes for it anymore, but he could sit there for hours
I
and just
sat
be
there with
so
him.
focused.
I sat there with him one time and I was like I was being his assistant because I wanted to hang out with him and he wanted to do his robot. So we sat at the kitchen table for like at least half an hour and he'd be like, okay, I need this part, and I give it to him. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, okay, I need this part now. And all we made was like a forearm. And I was like, oh, this is all we did.
I want
And
results.
he was so excited to have done it. And I was like, oh, I want to make the whole thing.
Yeah, well, he's good at it, and it works out for what he's interested in too. Besides that, his job as a software developer, I watch what he does sometimes is all this code. And the fact that he can zero in on pieces of the code that he's
Mm.
working on or what he needs to do, like he could look away from it and look back at it and know where he's at, and I'll be like, I'd be so lost. But he does have that because he has the whole channel, so he has got
Mhm.
the concentration down. So anyways, there's just if we think about how we're rounding out that month, moving now to that pulse of that root energy and focus and concentration. We've had all these themes here throughout the month, which feels kind of like there was all the throat gates, but it feels like it's looking at timing a lot. What's the right time? What's the
It
experience?
like
What do we know?
it kind of feels like it's a lot of just trying to gather how everyone is feeling and what they think is the right move. Like it just feels very overarching of getting everyone's input
Where to
on what
focus?
it is to be built.
Yeah, what to focus on, where to put the focus. So yeah, we'll see. I didn't look forward to the next month, so that's where we feel like we are. So we're just gonna end it with that. I
Yeah.
think that's okay.
Yeah.
So since we're wrapping up the gates and we're wrapping up the episode, what does that mean, Haley? What time is it, Haley?
The Incarnation Cross of the Week.
I actually had someone say that back to me the other day. The incarnation cross of the week. You're famous.
Yay.
Yay. All right, so this week we have, for the Incarnation Cross of the week, we have the Right Angle Cross of Contagion 3.
Ooh.
So this consists of, on the personality side of the chart, the black numbers. On
Mhm.
the top, the Sun and Earth. We have the Sun in gate 29, which is perseverance.
Okay.
We have Earth in gate 30, which is feelings or
Mhm.
passion. Over on the other side, on the design side, the body side, the red numbers, we have the sun in gate 8, contribution. And we have the earth in gate 14, power skills.
So we have perseverance, feelings,
Or passion.
contribution, and power skills.
Sounds power. I mean, contagion.
Power skills feels like a resume buzzword.
It does. It's in gate 14. Competence. So, okay. So if you were born under the right angle cross of Contagion 3, which we haven't done that in a long time, what does that mean, the profile?
No, so first of all, if it's a right angle cross, it means that the first profile line is a 1, 2, 3, or you're a 4, 6, right?
Yes. Means
And
you
then,
have a more. Go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
No, I want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, then I was going to say, and then the 2 at the end means it's
3.
under these 3
It was
at the
3.
end means it's under the third quarter of the year, which is duality. Civilization.
Yeah.
Duality.
Yeah.
Oh, cool,
Good
cool.
job.
Yes.
I have to change the
Do I get
format
a
of this
gold
podcast.
star?
You knew too much. You get a gold star. You do.
Yay, I
Okay.
haven't got one in a while.
Okay, so if you were born under this cross, your goal is to share your excitement and aim for success, even where others struggle, fueled by your dedication and openness to life's opportunities. Through this, you achieve deep involvement and make significant contributions to the world. You are here to discover, learn, and show the importance of living in harmony with your purpose. You lead by understanding the joy that comes from creating genuinely, having the bravery to follow your heart, and proving that staying true to yourself brings richness and ease. You inspire others to live passionately and use your enthusiasm to spark theirs and leading a life that is genuinely authentic.
Oh, love it.
Amen. Well, yeah, I mean, perseverance, passion, power skills, contribution. I mean, this is probably one, obviously there's 4 different variations of this cross, because of the different quarters. And it's an easier one, I think, to understand. Like, you're here to you're contagious.
Contagiously happy. Like, let's do it.
You're showing people the way. Like, be yourself, follow your passion, stick to it. It's contagious energy. I love it. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up then, leave it there. And we appreciate you listening, getting this far with us, I hope. And let us know what your experience is with any of these gates. If you follow me over on Instagram, every 6 days, I'm putting these posts out, a little infographic. It's not really an infographic, slides, I guess, with
Carousel.
the information, themes, the gates, and some prompts, some journal prompts, some things to think about. So make sure you follow me over there so you see those, and you can keep those as a reference if you like. As we go along, we'll all keep learning. So, Haley, I appreciate you. Love you.
Glad to be here.
And until next time, bye for now.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Bye.